I love Mythic Plus pugs because they're funny. I also love Mythic Plus pugs because they say silly things. What, you think we were done with the EU toxic keys? No, bro, they keep funneling in here, man. Like, this is a never-ending cycle. We have Knockahood 12, and you know I said about the funny things? First funny thing in the key, here it comes. You can see him to the right of the center of the screen right now. There is the affix going out, but we are handling that. The mob charges over to him, and then it looks like he just straight up dies from that mob charging over to him on a 12 fortified. And then he just types triple dot, and then he says, please flash me, ... I don't know what that means in Europe, but that does not mean what he's trying to use it for here in the United States. There was a death like before the key started recording, I guess. I don't know who actually died there, but the only other death in this area is going to be to this silly mob right here. This guy actually does a cleave, if you're not aware of this Lancemaster, and the way it's been explained to me, you can tell the one that's cleaving because he has the cleave icon over his character, but as you see, he's about to cleave right now. He's going to slice, and he just kind of hits the Demon Hunter there. I honestly wouldn't even say that this guy's really in front of the mob. Like, he's definitely a little bit to the side of it, but I guess he's just in front of the mob enough that he gets hit. After this guy dies, he changes the interrupt window to dispels, and then he changes it then again to deaths, and we see that there's actually 2 deaths. I guess he was trying to actually see how the Demon Hunter died there, but yeah, that was just from the cleave. So 2 deaths to the priest. The first one was 359 minutes into the key, so that's going to make it a lot harder. But yeah, nothing else crazy at this point. You know, they're talking about the mechanics. He says Evo do spear. He doesn't reply, which I don't know if he ends up doing it. I think like having an augmentation evoker do this is probably pretty good. Hard to tell if he's the one who ends up doing it. If you can see the mini map now, there's 2 guys who are near it, and then the Shadow Priest kind of lingers by it, so I'm not sure if that means he's the one who clicked it, but regardless, like, it doesn't really matter who does it. Nothing really causing any complications here. So the boss is going to die. Like, you know, the damage chart isn't looking crazy, but it's good enough. We're getting the boss dead actually in plenty of time. It's not even 2-minute fight for 12 fortified. The tank who recorded this is saying WF, which I guess he means waterfall. At first I thought he was talking about Wind Fury, but they didn't get the buff yet. This is the hardest pack in here, so everybody likes to go here first because CDs are up after that. You're going to see like the evoker. I don't know if he like dashes through a mechanic or something like that. I'm not really sure why he gets hit that hard there. Maybe the casts go off, but you know, the pack is very dangerous. You can see even on this 12, people are getting hit really hard. The healer's having a lot of trouble keeping everybody alive. This is all just context, because what I'm about to show you here at the end is, as you see in the title, like this key just blows up out of nowhere, and it's a perfectly fine key until it isn't, and then there's just no salvaging it. Trying to understand like the context into why people get frustrated and argue is something that I always do like to see, especially in the pug world. I think that this is like crucial to understanding like how to fix problems and also how to be a better player yourself in the pug world. Like, here's probably a pretty good example of more evidence to what eventually ends up causing problems here. Again, we're struggling. Like, these packs are not going great, and here comes the cast. It's going to just go on that guy. You see, it shows it on Plater who it's casting on. It's going to just hit him. He's at like 75% health, and he just straight up dies. Pay attention to the interrupt chart. We have 3 up, including the priest himself. We also, it looks like the Resto Druid actually has his kick. Whoa, good work. But yeah, so he's gonna die with his kick available, by the way. Then he says res me, which, I mean, I guess he's expecting a res after the combat, right? Like, surely he's not asking for a battle res, but like that kind of thing. It's like, yeah, we definitely are gonna res you, dude. Like, what kind of comment is that? Like, I think he's saying that because he died twice in the first area, and he's now like doesn't want to run back. He's like, I'm not running back. You have to res me. That was the 5th death. This is the 4th death. We forgot to show this. It's the same thing. A cast goes off. We have multiple people with their interrupt, and we don't use it, and the guy just gets actually one shot by that one this time. This is why having the 5th kick is useful, right? Because we actually have 2 up for this, and we still don't get it, but like one of them being up is actually the guy who is gonna die yet again. The Resto Druid, I mean, I don't know, maybe it's a bug that it shows him having it because almost nobody takes it, but if he does actually have it and he doesn't kick, this is just like multiple levels of irony stacked on top of each other. You're kind of seeing the theme here. Like, I mean, it's pretty obvious. Like, we're just not really kicking. We're not handling the spells coming in very well. Here's another one, Thunder Strike going on the Druid. Again, he almost gets one shot by that as well. This time it is going to get kicked by the Demon Hunter. To miss these kicks, this is core. This is the only mechanic in the pack that you're fighting, and you're not kicking it. It's a really, really big mistake. This death, you don't really expect to see it too often. This guy looks like he's gonna die to threat. All the mobs turn around, and then he starts taking tons of damage. The Demon Hunter there, I guess that's threat. I don't know how that's possible, but yeah, he's just gonna go ahead and die to threat. Then once that guy dies, like now we're in serious trouble because like he's one of the main interrupters. He's the only one who's actually using his interrupt well. So watch again, the main target is marked with the yellow mob, top right of the pack of mobs there. You see the priest and the druid claim to have their interrupt up, and it doesn't get kicked. It goes on the druid, and then this one does get kicked. It gets kicked by the priest, who luckily actually uses interrupt that time, because if he didn't, he was going to die too. But now they're down a DPS and a healer. Everybody's taking damage. Nobody's actually here to heal it. Casts keep going off. Obviously now there's only like one person who can even kick stuff, and more deaths come in. So they're basically going to have a full wipe to this. It's kind of like the solo save situation. And here is where things start to become a video. And this is all context. Everything I showed you up until this point is context. And this is why Mythic Plus pugging is so difficult. Like literally like a half dozen key interrupts missed, multiple from the actual guy who's now about to complain. And he fucking has the balls to type this bullshit. You need to heal more, mate. And that is ... It looks like it's 5 dots, but one of the dots is the eye from the stupid sideways face bullshit that he types out as well. You need to heal more, mate. So yes, the warrior, the guy who records this, says healing is not the issue. Absolutely not the issue, he says. I like that you say this, but why stop? Like, can you just tell him exactly what the issue is? Maybe he doesn't know as well. Like this, I think this is the key problem, and this is why pugging is so difficult. But so it continues. The priest now says, I am dead because of not heal, mate, ... Only 2 dots this time. Then he's going to add more dots in the next sentence. Stay tuned. He says, can't do a fix, heal, and DPS ... Which I have no idea what he's talking about, because yeah, the warrior actually says, well, you did neither, to be honest. Now look at this bullshit. If you didn't see what actually happens here, they land on the other side, and guess who's now going to aggro the trash? They're all over there but the tank, and the priest just throws out, I think that's like Shadow Crash or something like that. Like now we're just full on tilt, and now this key is done. Like it's over, right? It went from very minor mistakes to this absolute nonsense we have right now. And then the tank, while flaming the priest, has somebody aggro trash. You know, it does look like it's a shadow priest. He says, are you stupid? And the priest replies, for what are you waiting? Now this is an all-timer, dude. I cannot count the dots. If anybody wants to champion this, I'm gonna pause it for you, okay? If you want to count those dots, count them. I'll pin the comment, bro. If anybody accurately counts the dots, I will pin the comment. This is an all-timer. Like, stop the press. This is the most dots I've ever seen in one comment. He says, for what you waiting, maybe for an English lesson. He says, I think you charge. What, charge in? Like, I charged for the carry? Like, what is he referring? I don't know what he's saying here. Obviously, he didn't charge. You threw Shadow Crash at the mob. I love the response. The warrior says, for what you pulling? It's a great way to return that. That was a little weird. They all landed on one side but him. I don't really think there's like a problem here. Like, neither of them did anything right or wrong, but it is a little awkward, and I think that does cause a lot of stress there. And then, you know, just super classy way to end it. I'm not even gonna read that out, but yeah, this priest, like, I mean, we went from totally fine to this. You know what I mean? This is how quick it can escalate. This went from an easy key with very basic mistakes to people just running their mouths and being unable to finish the key because of it. There's so much wrong with this. This is pugging in a nutshell. It really is, and it's so sad to see it. This is why I encourage everybody to record their keys, first of all, though. Like, I know that this guy's probably not going to actually be self-reflective and look back on it, but he's talking about, like, not getting healing. I don't know if this is just a pure defense mechanism. Like, what do you think is going to get healed, bro? You are actually getting one shot. Even if you're unaware of missing the kicks and you getting people killed, like, these people are getting one shot. They are full health and now they're dead. This scares me too, because like these might be the people who are saying like there's too many one shots in Mythic Plus. It's like, yeah, that's a cast that you gotta kick, bro. That's something that you should have learned in season 1. And the warrior does call that out. Like, he says it's not the healer. Don't blame the healer. But I wonder, like, does he not fully know what's happening? You got to assume it's needs to cast, right? I mean, that's pretty obvious. If people are getting a one-shot in this area, it's going to be the casters. But nobody says a thing about it. Not a single word about interrupts. I mean, there's so many missed kicks. I still don't know for sure if this druid actually has a kick, but they did such a bad job in this area with interrupts, and it's actually just hard to understand how they're talking about everything but interrupting, and then the guy just like, turns up and just pulls trash and just gets it like super toxic, super quick. It's always this to me. Like, it's always like the mechanics, we're missing the mechanics. Who cares, bro? Just run back and keep going, dude. It's a 12 fortified. You're gonna be all right time-wise. The social problems, the pressure that people put on each other by blaming each other for mistakes is the #1 key killer. It will be irreplaceable in terms of difficulty. Nothing could ever be harder in the pug world than this battle of wills that people get into, and there's just no reason to get into it, man. If you truly think there's something wrong with the healer, what is the point of bringing it up in the key? Like, what do you honestly hope to accomplish here? You think the guy is gonna suddenly be like, oh yeah, I'll just heal you more. Sorry. It's not productive, and you don't even know the facts of the situation. And here we are again. Like, how many examples do we need of this? There's no coincidence here that we're talking about a Shadow Priest too. You guys have heard me rant about it, man. Like, maybe I'm overstating it at this point, but these flavor of the month re-rollers are just killing this game, man. It's crazy. It seems like it's key after key, man, where these guys are just getting carried, just totally unaware of what's going on, and then as soon as anything goes wrong, they just start blaming everybody but themselves, throwing the insults out. Oh man, it's so frustrating to me, and I hate seeing it. It always riles me up. But let me know if you guys are out there running keys, if you are encountering more stuff like this, man, especially the toxicity. This has become a true champion point for this channel, man. It's something we have been talking about since the early days, but it really is getting worse and worse, it feels like. And especially in a season like this, man, there's just no need for it. It's just nothing to be talking about, man. There's no reason to be this rude to each other. There's no reason to be getting into these fights. All you're doing is harming keys, is potentially slowing people's progression down, making everybody worse. If you are not in control, take a break, go outside, go do something else, play maybe even a different video game, go play a single player game for a while. Just stop pugging, man. This is killing the game. It's crazy to watch. Thank you for watching. You guys are out there running low keys, man, send them in. We will see you guys in the next video.